Oh, hello and welcome to What We Talking About, Jamie Jakes. I am him. We're here to play another round of Idiot versus Insider. I'm the idiot. James is the insider.
Flip that. Reverse it.
I have been absolutely destroying James this season so far. But to be fair to him, I'm absolutely also destroying the sports books. I am, 7 weeks through the season. I have 2 losing weeks, which means I have 5 winning weeks against the sports books. Yep. And I have 6 winning weeks.
Vegas hates to see you coming.
7 winning weeks against you. 7-1 with your only victory coming when you had all that insider information in week 1. James, thank you for joining us here on the Casting Couch, buddy.
Should have had more insider info for that Vikings game. I didn't know that was going to be rigged.
Yeah.
So.
We'll get to that in just 1 second. If this is your first time joining us, how this works is James, the NFL Insider, he presents a slate of games. Could be one game, could be all the games, to bet on each week, games that he has bet on himself personally. I, as the idiot, have a force bet. I can either agree with him, disagree with him, or pivot and have a different bet on that game. My record against the sports books this season has been absolutely spectacular. This might be your first time joining us because I had a pretty big week last week, and a lot of people were pretty interested in how well I did based on a short. So if that's you, appreciate y'all joining us here.
Welcome. For
the very first time.
Ever.
We hit our lock of the week last week.
As usual,
per usual. We are 5 of 2, so we didn't do a lock of the week for week 1 for obvious reasons, I think. Ever since then, we've been 5 and 2.
We just hadn't come up with the idea.
That is the obvious reason. That is the obvious reason.
We did not know that we were doing that.
Yeah, that was shout out to one of our viewers. If you want tips or tricks or have any suggestions for the podcast, leave it in the comment section.
We actually listen.
We do actually listen if they are good ideas. Like I said, I am 6-1 against James. I am 5-2 against the sports books this season with a 7-0 week, with a 6-1 week. So things are going pretty well. I am on a unbelievable heater. No one's seeing the board as good as me this season. I'll say that. Would you agree, James?
Pretty good.
And you can you might be able to hear the money train coming through the station.
The money train is coming through.
That means we are about to get started here. We also last week ended our schneid on Thursday night, because the worst part about this gambling podcast is you pick a Thursday night game every single week. You pick a side or something, and I hate it.
Give the people
we were like
what they want.
We were like 0 for 3 or 0 for 4 on Thursday nights, and we
know all you degenerates are watching on Thursday. That's why I put it out there. You're welcome.
Yeah, I know, but but we also get views on Friday and Saturday and Sunday morning,
and they're like,
and every single one of them saw us be dumb on Thursday night and probably turned off the video. So
but not anymore.
Not anymore. Our schneid has ended because we decided to pick opposite sides of last week's Thursday night.
I took one for the team. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I took the Vikings on a Detroit flu game, and you had
I took the Vikings.
You took you took the Vikings. I took the Rams, and I ended up winning on that one. I am pretty upset with that late no call on the face mask for the safety.
Yeah,
because it really muddied up my true victory that was taking the Rams there, because they were still down 8. Face mask would have put them on the 15-yard line or whatever, and the Rams would have gotten the stop. But anyways,
would have at least given them an opportunity.
It would have been nice to get a true victory there. I'll take what I can get where I can get it. We also got a little bit lucky on that Commanders Hail Mary. With that being said,
that was crazy.
With that being said, that Vikings Hail Mary, the Commanders Hail Mary, Commanders dominated that game statistically.
Yeah,
and it was
couldn't get a touchdown.
It would have been the stats would have been
a Hail Mary,
a false victory for the Bears there. But hey, Jane Daniels comes through for us again. We also saw on Monday night, Dayball, still a doofus, made a very questionable field goal decision, like we said was going to happen, or like I said was going to happen. I think you were betting on the Giants then, and then, despite what Warren Sharp says, taking the delay of game to give up a first down on that final drive. Yeah. Do you defend Dayball on that?
I don't understand that rhetoric.
Warren Sharp tweeted out like, "Oh, it was such
a
brilliant, genius move. We gave up a first down, but they stopped the clock." I'm like,
I'll defend the 2-point conversion. I thought that was a great play call.
2-point conversion was fine.
Yeah, if the offensive line was just looking at who they were supposed to block, it was 5-on-2. It was crazy.
I was wondering
how do you mess that up?
I was wondering if that was going to be an OPI if they blocked them there. I don't think though. I don't think that's the case.
They're lined up as linemen. They're on the line.
It might have been a backwards pass too. So, anyways,
I don't understand how that one.
Throw to the center. Center's always open on that play. Is what I say.
Do you do like a little barrel roll after you snap it to get extra open?
No, you can just run because no one's ever covering you because you're the damn center. Moving on to this week's slate of games. Thursday night, we got the Texans at the Jets. Thursday night, won't be live streaming this one. We do live streams for a lot of the games that we bet on, so you can see our reactions to it. I do a play-by-play, and we do comedy commentary for the football games. We won't be doing this one.
I'll be going live from a Denny's bathroom.
I won't be watching this one because it's Natalie's birthday on Halloween night.
Happy birthday, Natalie. Woo!
My wife's birthday, so we'll be going to the drive-in theaters, and honestly, I'm not regretting it. This game's going to stink. The Texans just lost Stephon Diggs. The Jets just lost hope for their entire season. The Jets are 1.5-point favorites at home. The over-under set to 42. James, what do you got on this one?
I like how you already know where I'm going with this one. So defensive-wise, as a reference, we talk about this. I use PFF. Jamie uses NFL Plus. So if some of our numbers are different, that's why.
I primarily use NFL Plus's EPA per play,
He
which
loves
I'll be
that EPA.
referencing a lot today.
I brought in some EPAs from PFF. Just
expected points added all over town.
A lot of them are negative, which is the interesting part.
Isn't that?
It's always the interesting part about EPA.
Thing. It's a weird statistic.
Like if you run the ball, you're worth negative 0.07 points.
Yeah.
You should never run the ball.
No.
Anyway, Texans, 9th D, Jets, 1st.
Texans, 9th best.
Which I thought was very interesting.
Jets are 1st best?
Yes. Again, PFF.
I totally disagree.
PFF looks at advanced statistics. They look at modeling. It's not always subjective around the stats that you see that show up in the box score, which is who I am as a person. Okay. I know we have some disagreements there, but that's
we do.
Texans 12th offense, Jets 16th, which I thought was surprising. What I thought was the most interesting was they valued the Jets defense as the 28th worst run defense.
But they ranked them 1st overall?
Somehow. Which made me have a lot of question marks. I had a lot of question marks about that, but what that did tell me.
PFF is ridiculous. They're going out of business soon.
No, they show up on Sunday night. They're going to have a job no matter what.
Okay.
I don't care if Nico Collins is out. I don't care if Diggs is out.
Mm-hmm.
CJ Stroud is by far a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers this year.
I'd agree.
I think the Texans can run the ball for sure on this Jets defense. I still am totally on board on the fact that the Jets is a absolute Rodgers show.
Yes.
And Rodgers is a synonym for shit show right now. It's atrocious. It's unprofessional how they're handling this, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't see how this team can continue to win.
Yep. So you're taking?
I'm taking the Texans at plus 110.
Okay.
I think it's wrong team favored. I'm taking a plus money line. That's just right up my alley.
WTF game, James, you think, huh?
Well, we need to coin that term.
Interesting. We didn't coin that one.
Merch coming soon.
Wrong team favored. It's a common vernacular, I would say, or
WTF
kind of inside vernacular for sports gambling.
I'm going to get my coin flip t-shirts available.
I didn't make it up. Yeah, coin flipping plus money. Yeah, that's the ones we need to get. That's our creation. So I saw a power ranking on Twitter or X or whatever, had Texans number 3 overall. And I was like, that's crazy. The Texans are too high, in my opinion. 2,000 people saw that reply on Twitter. 0 people disagreed.
Wow.
Okay. So Texans a little bit overrated by some people's metric. I even had a Texans fan chime in and be like, yeah, we aren't that good. We beat the Bills. We lost the Packers. So you can't be too excited.
Was that Perio?
About where we are? No, it was just a random person, random Texans fan. Texans will be short wide receiver. Will the Jets be able to take an advantage for their lack of receivers in this game? Only Tank Dell, basically. At home, Jets are the 17th team in EPA per pass defensively, so a little bit below average. Not great. Not going to be able to take advantage of the lack of receivers on the Texans, I don't think. What's confusing about the Jets is their offense has actually been pretty good this year.
Yeah.
A little bit over average. So I kind of agree with you. Your sentiment of what a shit show the Jets organization has been. I think how they got there in your head is a little bit skewed. I don't think it's entirely on Rodgers. I think a lot of it is on Robert Saleh.
I think he's pulling the strings.
Well, he should have pulled Robert Saleh's string way, way earlier than week 4 of this season or whatever.
Saleh was actually supplying him peyote, and that's why he didn't get rid of him initially. He was his dealer. He couldn't get rid
He
of
was his plug, his peyote
Yeah.
plug.
Yep.
Okay, 13th EPA per play on offense. Jets 11th in EPA per pass. So they're actually throwing the ball pretty darn efficiently.
Mhm.
What's been the biggest surprise to me is they can't run the ball. And the story of this season and last season for the Jets has been their tackle play has been horrible. So at some point, I'm like, is it a coaching thing? Is it just they signed the wrong guys and they're washed? I don't know. I talked to a lot of Cowboys fans. They're like, hey, he ain't what he used to be. So
Yeah.
maybe that has a lot to do with it. But like I said, I think it's been Salah all along that's been kind of the major issue. And now all of Salah's buddies are trying to run the team, and they're even stupider than he is. So that's not good. Texans and Jets both can't stop the run.
Nope.
29th and 30th
Yep.
in EPA per run. Okay. Defensively. EPA per pass. Offensively, Texans are 9th. Jets are 18th. So Texans have a pretty steep advantage there. Texans EPA per play on defense, 8th best. Jets are 12th. So Texans are better on offense. Texans are better on defense. That's good news if you're betting on the Texans. Common opponent, the Bills. Both played the Bills at home. Texans win by 3. Jets lose by 3. That's a 6-point differential. Wrong team favored, James. Give me Texans at plus 105.
You can grab plus 110.
And that's
go ahead and bump that up to 110.
That's an agreement on Thursday night.
Lock
Too bad
of the week done.
we
Thank
can't
you,
make
everyone.
that the lock of the
It's
week.
been a great show.
Moving
See
on
you guys next week.
to Sunday. The Falcons are at home against the Cowboys. Falcons are currently the 3 seed in the NFC, the whole NFC,
Oh, yeah.
the whole entire NFC. They have a 5-3 record. Can you believe that? They beat the Bucs twice. Their 2 best wins of the season by far. Cowboys' most impressive win is against Justin Fields and the Steelers. Falcons are 2.5-point favorites. The over-under is set very high for these two teams at 52 football points. James, what do you got in this one?
Don't know about that over-under there, but I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, he walks in your trap and he takes over your trap. Kirk Cousins in Atlanta might be the greatest thing we've ever seen.
He's been pretty good.
It's quite an interesting transformation. What I found interesting about both of these offenses, they all have negative EPAs.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas negative in the run, negative in the pass. Atlanta negative in the run, but positive in the pass.
Mm-hmm.
0.11 points per play when they pass the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys, 27th best pass defense in the league.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Atlanta has the 10th best passing offense, not to mention that Bijan Robinson is cutting it up, looking pretty good over there.
And Tyler Algier.
Yes. And Tyler Algier. That threw me off for some reason. I don't know why. Kirk Cousins, by far, outperforming Dak Prescott.
I'd say.
His passer rating is 110. Kirk Cousins. Dak, 88. A lot of points differential. I think if Kirk's walking into other people's traps and taking it over, he's not going to let somebody walk into his trap and take it over. I love Atlanta, and I love him at -2.5 here.
Kirk, I was going to say, get up out my trap house.
Get up. I've been slinging touchdowns since like the 6th grade.
James,
Yes.
I love your take on it. I love where you're headed on this, but what do you got to do? You said all this passing stats, James.
Yep.
What do you have to do to win football games?
We got to run the dang ball.
And you got to stop the dang run, right?
Yep.
Well, I've got news for you there. Cowboys, last place in EPA per rush defensively.
Not shocking.
Second worst on the road. So they're a little bit better. On the road, they're second worst.
That's because they had to play the Ravens at home.
Well, yeah. So no. So also the Lions. So you get rid of those 2 games at home, 2 good running offenses. They're still horrible.
second. Yeah, that's bad.
They're still horrible. So that's why I did that. Falcons are the 7th best in EPA per rush offensively. Falcons D is a little bit suspect in stopping the run. They're 18th in EPA per rush defensively. But the Cowboys, guess what? They can't run the ball. They stink too. 19th in EPA per rush offensively. We'll see if Dowdle comes back. That's a minor upgrade if Dowdle is back for this game, I would say.
Let's be honest. They should be starting Deuce Vaughn.
Yeah, it's an absolute disaster. Cook was a non-factor. Zeke is horrible when I was watching the Cowboys live here in Dallas, which is where we're recording for the Lions game, when Zeke was in, you go get yourself a beer. Cowboys aren't moving the damn football. It's a pretty easy situation to decide there.
Luckily, you can order from your seat in Dallas Cowboy Stadium.
So one thing that's to be a little bit concerning about this game, Falcons might be a little bit of a fake, a false. Their point differential this season, despite having a 5-3 record, is -1.
Wow.
Which is kind of like, you kind of feel like Eagles vibes from last year.
Question mark.
Here's the good news. Cowboys differential in points, -42.
Jesus.
Falcons, -2.5. 2 agreements starting off the show so far, James. You got to love it.
That is crazy.
And I love that you put this game on the slate. I love this one too. Chargers at Cleveland. Cleveland wins last week against the Ravens, but at what cost, James? They lose Denzel Ward to his 6th concussion in his NFL career. Lose Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who was wearing one of those concussion helmet things.
Is he the first one to get a concussion while wearing a Guardian cap?
I think he's definitely the first one to get spine boarded, carted off in a spine board in a Guardian cap this season. So interesting will be, I'd love to see the statistics when they come out for the NFL. They look horrible. If they just made that kind of part of the helmet and made it glossy on the outside so it looks like not ridiculous, I'd be fine with that. It looks horrible. They need to fix it. It needs to look better.
2,000 people that we've had stretchered off versus the one.
I don't know. We'll see what statistics. We'll see. Okay. Anyways, side note: Denzel Ward's 6th concussion in the NFL. I think Tua has 4 documented or 3 documented, 4 actual
including college too, because
not including college. Well, I'm not including college for Denzel.
Definitely
either.
had 2 in college for Tua.
Anyways, no one's talking about Denzel Ward because he's not a quarterback, and all of Tua's concussions seem to happen on primetime.
My first note for this game is Denzel Ward out.
Yeah,
that's my first note.
But here's the thing: Cedric Tillman, Jameis Winston. Cedric Tillman, I'll give you my thoughts on him after this. I watched every one of his targets this season while I was on the treadmill yesterday. Jameis Winston looked a lot better. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Browns at home are 2-point underdogs. The over-under is set to 42.5.
Yeah, so obviously my first note here, definitely Denzel Ward. That's a huge loss. That sort of leads me into one of my interesting stats that I have here for Cleveland specifically. I'm a big Jameis believer. First off, I appreciate that he's showing up to this game, but there's a big problem with that offensive line in Cleveland.
Yep.
And the Cleveland tackles, just amongst tackles, not even offensive linemen, 46th and 69th in the NFL.
Graded at PFF. And I hate PFF. I think the only thing that they're good for, their grading system, their grading system was designed to grade offensive linemen.
No.
It's a simple position. It's very easy to see who won, who lost.
Yeah.
In each rep, you're not grading defensive backs where you don't even know what the coverage is most of the time. You don't know what their responsibility was. You don't know what they're supposed to do. You're not grading quarterbacks, which is like the most complicated position to grade in all time. And you got an intern hitting +1, -1 on a computer screen all evening. Get out of my face with that stupid stuff, PFF. But offensive linemen, PFF can grade those, so it actually matters, James.
Get out of here. On top of that, Cleveland ranks 29th in pass blocking and 28th in run blocking.
Okay.
Who do the Chargers have at defensive ends?
Some pretty good guys. Bosa, I believe, is over there.
A guy named Bosa and a guy named Khalil Mack.
I believe they have Derwin James, like a 300-pound safety.
Love
also help out.
That guy could play the DN spot if he wanted to. Honestly,
he helped stop the run.
So the 3rd and 9th best pass rushers against the 46th and 69th best tackles in the league.
Not good, Bob.
Jameis Winston, not known for decision making when it has to be quick.
Okay. I sort of agree. However, watching the film, and to be fair to you, this is me comparing Jameis Winston's timing to Deshaun Watson's timing.
Yeah.
Like, wow, this looks way better. But yeah, you're probably right. Go ahead.
Historically, Jameis Winston not the best when it comes to quick
when you compare him to the worst statistical quarterback in NFL history,
he looks great.
Like 6. Yeah, Jameis Winston looks like an all-pro. Anyway,
I don't think Cleveland's going to be able to move the ball at all.
Okay.
I think the Chargers defense is going to easily be able to shut them down.
Okay.
Chargers, not the most confident that I've been in, but quite frankly, if Cleveland can't put up any points, does it matter?
Yep.
I've taken the Chargers at -130 here. Just money line, Chargers -130.
Taking the money line at -130, James is. Okay, so kind kind of getting on what you were saying, Browns on this season are 29th in EPA per pass on offense, but week 8, the Browns 5th best. And how many bye weeks were there last week? Zero. Okay. So 5th best out of 32 teams. Beat the Ravens, though. Ravens stink in secondary, and Jameis Winston probably should have thrown 3 mean pick sixes. Do you get that reference?
Yep.
I hope the viewers at home get that reference. So the Ravens can't catch the football.
Comment if you got it.
Yeah, comment if you got it. 2 good defenses. 5th and 15th best in EPA per play defensively. The Chargers and the Browns are, respectively. Chargers are not good on the road defensively, however. Compared to 5th best overall, they're 11th best in EPA per play on the road, which is weird because you don't think that the LA has a great home field advantage, but that's what the statistics say. Browns,
when you can't get $35 coffee locally, that's really throwing you off.
Yeah, Browns are banged up defensively, obviously. Jameis is slinging it to somebody. And interceptions, those are good for overs, James. Those are good for points. Over 42.5. If Jameis throws a pick 6, that'll help. I think the Chargers will be able to move the ball on the Cleveland Browns. I think Jameis will be efficient when he's not throwing to the other team.
Yep.
So I think they're going to be able to score. Cedric Tillman, he looks like he could develop into a true number 1 wide receiver on this team. He's got the body size for it. He's got the speed for it. A lot of people were really excited about his prospect coming out of college. He had an injury late in college in his last season, which made him drop in the draft, and everyone was super excited about him. And then he got drafted to the Browns. People were still like, it might still work out. Didn't work out.
Nope.
Okay. Amari Cooper gone. Maybe the Browns, I don't want to give them too much credit as an organization, think to themselves, Amari Cooper's in the way of Cedric Tillman because Cedric Tillman's the next big guy up, and we need to get Amari Cooper out of here so Cedric can develop. Cedric's a little bit older.
I don't think Cleveland was the one who initiated that trade.
Winky. Okay. Alabama guy, got some insider information. Browns didn't initiate that trade. However, they accepted a trade for, a little bit more than a bag of balls.
No, yeah.
To get Amari Cooper out of town. Okay.
They definitely said, hey, we've got Cedric Tillman. We can let Cooper go.
All this to say is I think the Browns will be able to score points. I think Jameis Winston can score 21 points. I know these Chargers can score points on a lackluster defense after losing probably their 2 best defensemen.
Yep.
Well, outside of obviously Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith. I think will be traded. He's pretty good too.
Yeah.
For the Cleveland Browns. Anyways, all this to say, Jameis Winston, all he has to do is throw 2 or 3 mean pick sixes in this game.
Yep.
And that over is going to cash easily. I think he's going to be good on offense, good for the offense, a plus for the offense. I was leaning towards the Browns, but when I dug into the statistics, I'm just like, this over-under is way, way, way off. So over 42.5, Cleveland Browns and the Chargers, James. Moving on to our next game.
Don't forget you're undefeated picking overs this season, too.
Aha! That's a good point. I'm not sure if that's exactly true.
I think this is the first over you've taken.
Well,
do we have another over?
No, not today so far. This is my first, but no, I think I'm like 4-0 in over-under picks this season. I've only taken 4.
Didn't take that Monday Night Football though one.
No, I didn't.
You really thought that was not going to hit after in that first half.
Yeah, I really didn't believe it. Saints at Carolina, our next game, the Poop Bowl of the weekend. NFC seed 14 and 16. Saints get Carr back. The Panthers are 7-point underdogs at home. The over-under set to 43.5, James.
Yeah, this one's pretty simple for me. These teams stink. I can get +7 with the Panthers. I'm taking it.
Yep. Classic last week. The only bet you beat me in last week was this exact same situation. The Patriots over the Jets. The Jets were
when shitty teams win, they pay the same as good teams.
Yeah. The Jets were 7-point favorites on the road, and they lose outright to the horrible, disgusting to watch Jacoby Brissett led Patriots. So anyways, I'll get off of it. You're taking the Panthers here at +7, James.
+7.
Saints
Don't overthink it.
Yeah. Saints offense hasn't looked great since the first 2 weeks. Granted, One of those was in week 1, 47-10 victory over these Carolina Panthers. So there is that, but that was the exact same situation with the Jets-Patriots game. The Jets blow out the Patriots, the only game they've ever looked good in, and then they go on the road to the Patriots and they suck.
You get a lot of tape to see what you did wrong.
Yep. Well, and you gain injuries if you're the Saints. They're so injured. Now they have offensive injuries. Like, again, Kendra Miller, I think, goes down. I don't think he'll be active for this game. I think Alvin Kamara is a little bit banged up going into this one, which isn't good. They'll have Olave back, I think. Or they had him last week, but you just never know with that guy.
I'm sure we won't know on that one before.
Yeah.
I think that's a game time.
If he's going to be healthy,
he's going to show up there, warm up, find out he has pneumonia and leaves, just like Debo.
Yep. So last week, Panthers, or last time, Panthers had a different QB. They're going to have their new veteran QB this time with the red rifle. They did just trade Deontay Johnson, but who cares? Who cares? Leggett, I think, will develop into a wide receiver 1. In my opinion. And the Panthers were already horrible in EPA per pass. They're the second worst in EPA per pass already with Deontay Johnson. So how much worse can it get? Not that worse, which would be the answer to that. Saints are 25th in that metric, by the way, EPA per pass. They also suck passing the football. Saints EPA per run is second worst in the NFL defensively. You got to be able to stop the run and win the football games. The Panthers are 9th worst in that same metric. Chuba can run the football. Hasn't been super efficient. It's been hit and miss. They're the 21st in EPA per run. So below average, but not absolutely horrible. Both these teams stink. I'm going to learn from my mistake last week, and I'm going to take the Panthers at home getting 7 points, James.
Wow. I thought for sure we were going to disagree on
3 agreement, or 1 pivot, right?
1 pivot
and 3 agreements.
3 agreements.
Wow. Moving on.
It's either going to be the best or worst slate ever.
I hope so, because we got a lot of new viewers for this one, James. Jags at Eagles. This is the game you sent me. I hate.
Okay.
We did talk about a game that I hate.
I try and pick games specifically only ones that you're going to be like, I got to pick this one.
I hate picking this one. But to be fair to you, I hated every single game that you had on last week's slate, and I go 6-1. So I guess I can't complain.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
This is for your own good.
Thank you.
I'm making
Eagles,
you a better tout.
Look better every week. They do have 2 new coordinators on both sides of the football, so you'd expect them to become better and better week by week. Yeah. With that being said, that offense schematically has not impressed me. Jags lose Christian Kirk, but Evan Ingram's all the way back, so I think that's, in my opinion, a little bit of a wash. Like, who cares?
Yep.
And they've got Brian Thomas Jr., who might go down as the best wide receiver in this draft class, and it's all said and done. Eagles, -7.5. The over-under set to 45.5 points, James.
Yeah, so, I mean, I have this one pretty simple as well. Jags are a middle-of-the-pack team. Eagles have the 5th best D in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I think this game's going to be slow. I think this is going to be a 1-possession game the whole time.
Okay.
ATN may be out, but the Tank's still in there.
Tank Bigsby's probably better.
As long as the Tank's playing, honestly, I think ETN not getting snaps helps their run game, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think +8 for the Jags here is what I was able to grab. I'm sure you're probably still going to be able to get that at home.
Still able to get it.
+8. I think that's an easy one where this is just going to be a 1-score game. Keep it simple, keep it slow. Take the +8.
Okay. So you're taking +8 at away Jags. I'm sure it's still available. I just have the DraftKings line here. So shop your lines around. Eagles, they can win big. Okay. Giants by 25, Bengals by 20, which was our lock of the week.
It was.
No big deal. Just a no-brainer, easy peasy lemon squeezy.
You're welcome, America.
Kick back and relax and just count your money. Jags took the Packers down to the wire last week. So maybe they're on the rise. Maybe the Packers are on the decline. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a future game that we're going to talk about. Impressive win, their best win, the Jags, over the Colts by 3 at home. Colts kind of stink. Now, it was, I think, an Anthony Richardson game. EPA per rush on offense. Eagles are second best in the league. Jags, defensively, EPA per rush, 11th worst.
That's not good.
Uh-oh. What do you got to do, James, to win these games? Run the ball, stop the run. Jags, better running the ball than passing, 11th best in EPA per rush. Eagles are 17th defensively in EPA per rush. Like, uh-oh. Eagles aren't going to be able to stop these Jags either. Okay? So that's what I'm thinking when I'm looking at that.
And top cornerback for the Eagle is questionable.
Until I saw this, James.
Uh-oh.
Jags, worst in the NFL in pass EPA per play defensively.
Wow.
Uh-oh. And who do they got over there? They got a Heisman winner as their wide receiver 2, I believe.
Yeah, the Slim Reaper.
Over there for the Eagles. A.J. Brown should be active, healthy, end of the game healthy. Shitty scheme doesn't matter. I like Eagles at -7.5, but I love over 45.5.
Whoa.
Eagles can't stop the run. Jags can run it. Eagles could just pass for 400 yards against this Jags defense and cover the spread on their own. Jags match up well offensively to the Eagles defense. So over 45.5, another over pivot for me, James.
Wow, that's 2.
That's 2 of them. I don't think on this podcast history, I've ever recommended 2 overs in a single slate of games. So breaking records here. Moving on to the next game. And game of the week. I think this is America's game of the week. Packers and the Lions. Packers at home.
How do they pick that? Is there a vote?
They just figured it out.
Game of the week. We polled America.
It's like a TV thing. I don't know. Anyways,
they're outside the polling places. They're like, did you vote for Kamala? Did you vote for Trump? And by the way, next week, would you like to see Packers Detroit as the game of the week? Is that
prop L? Yeah.
Prop L.
Prop L. Lions or Packers national game of the week. Yeah. Go out there and vote. Packers likely without Jordan Love, groin injury. And even if he's back, I think you'd be better off with Malik Willis just based on how bad Jordan Love looked with that kind of groin last week.
Yep.
Against Jags. Packers are getting 3.5 points at home. The over-under set to 48, James.
Yeah, I've got this one as another simple one for you here. Main stat that I'm looking at here. Green Bay, 26th in strength of schedule. Played one of the easiest schedules.
Cupcakes.
Detroit, 29th. I think both of these teams are overperforming, so I'm not really diving very deeply into their statistics. I like the under at 48.5. I think we're going to have a classic Midwestern run the ball, chew some clock, great defense type of game.
Yeah, and looking at this over under 48.5, I was actually kind of leaning that way. So it's interesting. That's what you ended up on. Your first over under pick of the week, right?
I think that's my first under pick of the entire season.
Oh wow, okay.
First over under of this week. First under pick of the entire season.
Mr. Overs over here. I'm sitting next to Malik Willis. Statistically, actually better than Jordan Love this year in EPA per drop back, but a lot of that's just going to be noise because he only has 39 dropbacks this season. Whenever and whenever he's doing that, it's a massive surprise to the defense because when he's in, they run the football, 100% of the time, it seems like. I actually had to deselect quarterbacks who qualify because he didn't have enough dropbacks this season. I had to actually deselect that in my filter. So I had like Jack Fox is like leading with EPA per dropback or whatever.
Let me just go ahead and pick him up on our dynasty league.
He's a punter, James.
Hang on.
And he's actually playing in this game. Anyways.
Never too late for a career change.
Anyways, I think that's noise. I think obviously Jordan Love is the primary starter for this team. Obviously, Packers are trending down in the last 2 games. Like you said, strength of schedule, cupcakes. Okay, they lose or they have a total of 5-point margin of victory in their last 2 games against the Texans, who are good, and the Jags, who are very bad. Okay, Lions offensively, 4th best in EPA overall. 4th best at EPA on the road. Check your box for an over, actually, not the under. Packers 16th at home in EPA per play offensively. So that record, 16th best offense against a cupcake schedule, James.
Not good.
Lions EPA per play on defense, 2nd best in the NFL, actually trending upward since Aiden Hutchinson went out. Isn't that crazy? That was shocking for me to see. They're only 2nd to the Broncos in EPA per play defensively. They have an elite defense. Packers also have a good defense. They're 6th best in that metric, which will bode well.
That's pretty dang good
for your under. Lions put up points against the Vikings, who are 3rd in that category, and Titans, who are 10th in that category. So 3rd and 10th, the Lions are able to put up a whole bunch of points. Packers are 6th best. Okay. So you're kind of cutting the difference there. So I think the Lions will be able to score points on these Packers. Packers are not good against the run. as they are against the pass. 11th in EPA per run defensively. And they're playing the Lions. That's not good, James.
No.
Looking ahead, which the Lions, for a team who has a not mobile quarterback, I would call him an immobile quarterback, Jared Goff, they are by far head and shoulders ahead of the rest of the NFL in EPA per run, because that EPA per run gets skewed by rushing quarterbacks. Anyways, the Lions win by 1 million last week against a good defense in what Dan Campbell and the team agreed upon was not their best performance of the season.
Which is scary to hear.
The Lions, last 4 weeks of the season, going up against the Vikings and the Titans, two elite to solid defenses, or not even solid, good defenses to elite.
I don't think you can put elite next to the Titans this year.
Not elite Titans, but elite for
elite, absolutely Minnesota.
For Minnesota, for sure.
I agree.
They broke a record for a 4 streak of points scored. Okay. So in a 4-game window, Lions are the most dominant offense in NFL history. And we're going on to week 5 of that. Okay. So I think they were looking ahead last week against the Titans. Pretty obvious, especially defensively. They weren't really there until after the first 2 drives. And now they're looking back at last year, getting embarrassed. Their last embarrassing loss was to the Packers at home. This is basically the exact same team the Lions had last year. They remember. I think the Packers are a little bit of a paper tiger. I think the Lions are a real deer. Rawr. Lions minus 3.5 on the road. Give it to me, James.
Pepperidge Farm also remembers.
I remember. You know who doesn't remember? The Colts and the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh.
At Minnesota, Sunday night.
Yeah.
This is a Joe Flacco game.
This is an early bedtime game.
Line already calculated in Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Darisaw, of course, out for Minnesota with that knee injury. Not good. All pro tackle out. Vikings minus 5. The over-under set to 46.5. James?
Yeah. So these teams rank relatively similar when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, very different rankings.
Okay. I kind of disagree, but okay.
Colts, 30th offense. Vikings, top 5.
Okay.
But there's something that we have to remember here. Most of those stats were put up when Anthony Richardson was starting.
Yeah, of course.
And that man is like an anchor dragging down that number.
So bad.
I think.
I can't believe people were upset. People like legitimately on Twitter are upset that they benched Anthony Richardson after proving to be soft.
No.
In multiple occasions, he's had multiple chances to prove how soft he is. He went down like a heap of potatoes with like a sore shoulder in like week 2 or whatever, which is what brought Joe Flacco in the first place. Taps out, gets on the sideline, and he's like the worst completion percentage in the NFL. And everyone's like, "Oh, look at Josh Allen." I'm like, all right, there's one Josh Allen. I get it. Anthony Richardson, he's tall, he's fast. Okay, I don't think he's gonna be Josh Allen. And players can develop learning underneath a experienced quarterback. We talked about it with JJ McCarthy already this season. We've seen what Jordan Love has done.
Yeah.
He is not ready for the NFL, and all he's going to do is just create bad tendencies for himself if he keeps on trotting out there and sucking. Now,
some people have like 22 starts between high school, college, and the NFL anyway.
Some people are saying like, hey, it wasn't as bad as it looked. There was drop passes, but I'm like, at some point, some of those drop passes are going to be on Anthony Richardson. You can make passes more catchable, and I think we've seen the same thing happen in Cleveland right away. No more drop passes. Players know where the ball is going to be. They know the timing of when the ball is going to be there with Jameis Winston versus Deshaun Watson. So those drops aren't entirely wide receiver stats.
Yeah. James. You know, actually, I'm getting a little tired. I'm going to tap out for this last one. I'll bring in the backup.
It's getting pretty early. Vikings minus 5 over instead of 46.5, James.
Yeah. So, I mean, we talked about both these teams fairly similar on defense. Colts looking bad because of their, time with Anthony Richardson. What I found pretty interesting when looking at player stats here, the Vikings actually have a negative EPA on their run, even with Aaron Jones being one of the top running backs. And I dove into this and I was like, why is this happening?
Yep.
Ty Chandler is ranked behind all 3 Colt running backs that have attempted any sort of runs this year. So when
fantasy football darling Ty Chandler,
when Aaron Jones is not in the game, they have a lot of problem running the ball. So
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty interesting. That made me intrigued.
Mhm.
Aaron Jones seems to be more involved in the pass game than the run game as well.
Yeah, it's
when
kind
I
of like
looked at it
Alpha Kamara
statistically.
part of his career.
Exactly. The other interesting note that I found here, Sam Darnold, 15th best quarterback in the league statistically.
Okay.
Joe Flacco, smaller sample size, 17th.
Okay.
Very interesting. I am believing in these Colts.
Okay.
I think this is a bounce back week. You got Joe Flacco leading the team. This is it for their season, I would say. It's either win this game or, we're in complete tank mode.
Yep.
If Joe Flacco wins this game, you have the point of momentum that, hey, maybe Joe can lead this team to do something.
Mhm.
I like that storyline. I like that momentum. And more importantly, I've already gotten the script. So I'm going with the Indianapolis Colts at plus 205.
Script game. Wow. A plus 205 bet from.
I may have gotten that before the Joe Flacco news was officially out, so I'm not
let's-
sure if it's still
Let's check that because
205.
that line moved.
I bet it.
after the
I bet it moved quite a bit.
the Flacco news plus 185.
Okay,
You
so
still
not
like
too
that?
bad. 20 points. I don't know if I take 185. Being honest, I like my 205. 20-point swings.
Well,
are
you
pretty
can't
big.
recommend it if the audience can't bet it, James.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Let's check Vegas Insider. Plus 200.
Yep,
There you go.
plus
So you
200
can,
still
you can
out
find
there.
it at plus 200 allegedly right now for the Colts. So you like that?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
I'll take plus 200.
Taking plus 200. Good. Glad we
Sorry,
fig-
we had to check for you, America.
glad we figured that out. Yeah, because that's the worst when you hear on a podcast like, oh, I really like this team at plus 300, and you look and it's like plus 150, and you're like, all right, great, thanks for bragging about the better line that you got than I can get. So that's the rules of the podcast. We try and keep it legit here for y'all. Flacco, the best defense he played against was the Titans, 10th best, I believe, in EPA per play defensively. He was 22 of 38, but only 189 yards on 38 attempts. Not good, Bob. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. They only scored 20 points in that game. Vikings dropped 2 in a row. 1 to Detroit, 1 to the Detroit flu game, which we have talked ad nauseum. Probably your first time listening. You're probably aware of this phenomenon because even like Bill Belichick and Pat McAfee are talking about it now. But we've been on it since like week 3, I think.
We were the first to report it.
We really were.
We were patient zero.
No team has won a game outright or covered the spread after the week after playing the Detroit Lions. Okay, so that's what we're talking about here. The Lions are physical. It's hard to play. So because of that,
Just
I
go
think,
ahead and add whoever the Titans are playing this
yeah,
week.
I think the Vikings have been downgraded inappropriately after dropping 2 to the Lions and basically the Lions again. The Titans, like I said, are 10th best in EPA per play defensively. Vikings are 3rd best. So Flacco struggled against the Titans. How's he going to fare against these Minnesota Vikings? Much better defense, according to me, not according to PFF. And PFF, we all know, is stupid. Darisaw is out. Darnold is bad under pressure. One of the worst players in EPA per pass when under pressure this season. Got good news. Colts can't generate any pressure defensively. It's 20th in pressure rate
Hey, now there's 12 teams worse than them.
in the NFL. Bounce back game for Sam Darnold and the Vikings. Back against the wall, sort of. They're recovered from the Lions flu. They're going to be all the way back for this one. Give me the Vikings at -5, James. I totally disagree
Wow.
with you.
Wow. You know what? We talked about the Detroit flu. I think we might as well just add Patriots plus 150.
What? No, I don't like that. And I was interested to see if we were going to get a Detroit flu game out of you in your slate, because I was actually going to fade it this week.
Yeah.
Because the starters were out of that game in like the middle of the 3rd quarter. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not even exaggerating. Like, dogs were called off. It was a 40-point game. It was over in that. So I don't think the Titans are going to be quite as affected by the Detroit flu as the rest of the NFL has been
I agree with you.
so far this season.
I didn't want to touch the flu game this week.
Yeah. So wise that you stayed off that flu game. Lock of the week, James. We're 5-2 on the season.
This is a big one.
It is a big one.
Definitely the Carolina Panthers, right?
The Panthers at +7.
No.
I don't love
No.
putting my money
No.
on the
I think
Panthers.
that's our immediate. We remove that one candidate.
Yeah, X
Still a
that
good bet.
one out.
Just I don't know about lock
We
of
can't
the
do
week.
Thursday night
Atlanta.
because I won't allow it.
That would mean Atlanta would probably be our biggest agreement so far.
Yeah. And we both had
Atlanta,
wrong.
2.5.
Yeah, we both really liked that Thursday night game. So that's a bummer that we can't pick it.
We can totally do it. We
Uh,
make the rules, Jamie. It's
We
our
do.
show.
We both like the Falcons, though, right?
We both like the Falcons. That is our next biggest agreement outside of Thursday Night Football. I would say Thursday Night Football is our biggest agreement, but since we're cursed, I guess we could do the Falcons.
I mean, so your take was the Falcons are better passing the ball, and my take was the Falcons are better running the ball.
Yep.
Matchup wise.
So clearly we like both phases of the game. For
Cowboys can't stop the run.
No.
Right.
Cowboys can't stop it.
So that's pretty good news. Did we agree on?
We agreed
on the
Saints.
Panthers, right?
Yeah, the Panthers game.
Mm-hmm.
Did not agree on the Eagles game.
Did not agree on the Eagles.
Agree on the Lions Packers game.
Yeah. So we only have 3 agreements, and one of them Thursday night. So X that one out.
Yep.
We
the
can't.
other one's Carolina.
We can't put our money behind the Carolina Panthers.
Nope.
After losing 47,
we're putting our money behind it, just not our lock of the week.
47-10 this week. I mean, yeah, the lock of the week is our pure little baby child. Yeah. This is really all we care about.
If you had bet on the game of the week with your entire mortgage so far this year,
Falcons -2.5.
Yeah.
At home.
Yeah.
Against the dead in the water Cowboys.
They're trapped.
You got to be able to stop the run. You got to be able to run the ball if you're going to win in the NFL. Falcons going to run the ball. Cowboys can't stop the run. Falcons a little bit suspect, average stopping the run. Cowboys below average running the ball offensively. How in the world do the Cowboys cover this spread?
Maybe if there's like a part of the Georgia Dome collapses on the Atlanta sideline.
I think the only way this happens is if they flex this to Sunday night somehow, late notice, and you get primetime Kirk, right? There's no shot. Okay. So
the only over under we should be looking at for this game is how many changes Kirk going to wear after.
He's gonna hit the boom on him.
You think he's gonna hit the boom?
He probably is gonna learn about it this week.
I don't think he even knows what that is.
He learned about swag surfing like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was pretty embarrassing.
That was pretty good.
I'm pretty sure Michigan State has played swag surf at their stadium.
That surf song, right? That surf song. No, they act at Michigan State. Swag surfing's not a big thing there. Actually, surprisingly, they play like the. Anyways, they play a weird song. It's fun though. Falcons -2.5. Lock of the week. Trying to go 6-2.
Yep.
In lock of the week this season. Again, we can afford to lose this one because we're so far ahead in lock of the week. But week by week, those locks of the week are going to get more difficult. So
I don't think so.
We got it. You keep
on
saying
more data.
So do the sports books. Thank you, James. NFL insider, not a public figure, sitting here on the casting couch with me. I think this was a lot more fun of a slate for me to pick personally.
You're welcome.
So happy that you picked what you picked. I feel pretty good about it.
I feel great about it.
I feel pretty good about it.
We've got a lot of agreement on the early slates,
a
lot of disagreement on the late ones. So this should be an interesting week.
I still think I'm going to be 8-1 against you. 8 matchup winning streak against you.
The beauty is if I win that Colts bet, I can theoretically lose 2 more games to you and we tie.
Yeah, you got that.
Makes it interesting.
That plus 200 bet. Which
if we look at units.
We always do look at units for the record. We always look at units, including my record against the sports books. Okay. So no fakery around here.
Exactly.
Thank you all for watching. If this is your first time joining us, we post these every Wednesday, sometimes on Tuesday if you're lucky, but we'll always post these on Wednesday. Stick with us. We are seeing the board pretty well. So far, I don't think anybody's seeing the board better than us, I would say.
Who's seeing the board better than us?
Nobody. Please subscribe, share with a friend. We'll see you next time.